nightmares, me Queen Nightmare. And you can guess I haven't slept at all today, except for an hour. So, I hope you like this. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyways, let's go. Where we left off was that they were fighting about him being a werewolf, but hold on, come on, please load for me. Don't die on me. I'm having those days, if you know what I'm saying. I should have that on. Okay. Why is my phone so slow? So, we have them fighting over that he has to stay with us forever, but little does he know that Draco has already prepared for that, and they're just fighting over it. Okay, so, quiet classes and Minerva's intrusion, which is chapter 13 to us. By the way, please go listen to Hurt Like Hell by Fleury? Is that French? Because it looks like a French word. I'm sorry. If you're following along, you may know what it actually is. It's Too Much for My Soul Alone. XD. Anyways, I love this song. Alex. That's what he was coming from. The next morning, everyone headed to breakfast together. Harry was able to take his arm out of his sling, but his shoulder was still sore. Everyone started putting food on their plates and ate slowly. Am I missing something? Why are you all so quiet? Luna asked. Hermione leaned over and whispered into her ear. We have leaves in our mouths, so it's hard to talk without anyone noticing it. It's for our Magus transformation. Tell Neville and make sure he doesn't tell a soul, or I'll hex him. Hermione whispered to Luna. She understood and whispered the information back to Neville. Really? Why? Neville asked the group. Harry sighed. To keep me company when the end of the month comes. Harry told him quietly. Neville understood and didn't try to talk to anyone. Everyone ate fairly slow. Wait, how long do they have to keep it under their tongue? Is it for a whole month or a whole week or a whole day? I'm so confused. I forgot which one it was. Maybe you'll let me know, or it will tell me in the future. Everyone ate fairly slowly in small bites, very carefully so that they didn't chew the leaf. They were the last groups to leave the dining hall. They hurried to their classes and continued the day relatively silent, besides a couple of sentences here or there. Harry and Draco seemed to notice that people are staring at them, steering clear of them. It made Harry feel very isolated. Draco just grabbed his hand and confidently walked through the halls. They reached their last class of the day, Transfiguration. When they walked in, they saw Minerva's Magus on the table, instead of Professor Agnes sitting at her desk. Harry and Draco sat at their desks in the front right corner. Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Hermione came later and sat in the seats next to Harry and Ron. A couple minutes before class, everyone filed into the classroom. Harry was paying too much attention to the herbology book to realize that everyone was seating just about as far as they could. Draco noticed, though. He didn't say something, so Harry would be a bit more relaxed. Minerva scanned her head around the room. She jumped and transformed back into her normal form and started to teach. Harry marked his page and closed his book. Professor Agnes is out because of a family emergency, so I'll substitute today. Today we will be learning how to transfigure others into animals. Well, shit. We already know how to do that, my dude, or we're trying to. This is not really a skill you'll really need to know, but it sharpens your skills to allow you to do even more. Advanced transfiguration, Minerva said. Well, thank you, Minerva, for teaching us how to do this. She drew the wand motions onto the board, which is probably arrows. If I'm being all, why couldn't she animate the chalk to do the same thing over and over and over again? Which is what I would do if I was a wizard. You know what I mean? To keep on repeating the hand motions but slowly, so that everyone can see. While waving your wand, say the incantation Amana Metaphorify. Then point your wand at the person you wish to turn into an animal. When you say the incantation, you'll need to be thinking the animal you want your partner to turn into. Be careful. If you are not focused, your partner will suffer for it. Keep your mind focused yet clear. To turn them back, just point your wand at your partner and say, Animi. Oh, please turn Draco into a snake. Because he'll be so cute as a snake, not a ferret. Snake. I want him to turn into a snake. You know what? Oh, I feel so horrible. I just remember the snake from Fruits Basket. We have to become closer then, right, brother? Ah. If you have not seen Fruits Basket, it's a really good comedy, and you just wanna be friends with everyone, even the perverted one, who is possibly my biggest. I simp over every time. He's hot. I have problems. I have issues too. And then, keep your mind focused. Yes, Minerva said. She showed the class how to perform the spell before leaving them to perform it on their partner. Harry and Draco paired up and started. You can go first, Draco told Harry. Harry brandished his wand and pointed it at Draco. Anima Metaphorify. Harry swished his wand while speaking and thought of a ferret. No! How dare thee! I don't know where that came from. It was a weird squeaking noise. Draco turned into a white ferret. Harry picked up Draco and held him. Oh, you look so cute, Harry laughed. He pointed his wand at Draco and he turned him back into himself. I didn't know why you like ferrets, Draco teased. Didn't know you like ferrets, Draco teased. He remembered the time he turned into a ferret. My turn, Draco said. Harry stood still and waited. Draco said the incantation and he heard the same squeaking noise. He looked in the seat and saw a big black German shepherd sitting where Harry was previously sitting. He had a scar running down the side of his face. Draco put Harry on the pet Harry on the head. You're so cute. Draco giggled. Harry licked his hand in response. Draco heard some laughing behind him. He looked behind and saw a couple students giggling, whispering, and pointing at Harry. Harry finally looked around himself. Even in his black and white vision, he saw that the seats around him were vacant, except for Hermione and Ron. And he saw that some students were pointing and laughing. Draco heard Harry whine a little, and his ears flopped down. Draco turned to Harry and turned Harry back into his normal self and got up and confronted the laughing students. Minerva watched silently from the front of the room with a smirk on her face. Yes, B! She's just like, I'm just going to watch what happens because they're going to get what they deserve. This is what I like about a teacher. When they know, when a snotty group of people is going to get what they deserve, they just shut up and just watch, and just with the smirk on their face. Because they know that they can handle themselves. They will step in if they have to step in, but they won't. If it's okay. What's so funny? I'd so love to know. You're either really amused by Transfiguration or you have no sense of humor, because I know you aren't laughing at Harry, since that would be a big mistake on your part. Draco threatened, accent the no in his speech. Everyone stopped talking and kept a straight face, while looking away anywhere but Draco and Harry's direction. Draco smirked and walked back to his seat. Being feared still had a couple of pros to it. Draco grabbed Harry's hand and squeezed it. Harry was grateful for the gesture. Minerva stood up and addressed the class. She had a devious idea. Oh, yes. I love these type of teachers. This is why she should stay as a teacher, not a headmaster. She would be a good teacher. Miss Pond, could you please step up to the front of the class and perform a transfiguration on Mr. Daniel? Come up here as well, Mr. Daniel. She asked of them, and they nervously stepped up in front of the class. Minerva noted that she hadn't successfully transfigured anyone yet. She also knew that the two were making fun of Harry. Are you sure you want me to turn Daniel? Miss Pond laughed nervously. Minerva pursed her lips and arched her brow. Not saying a word, Miss Pond took that as a yes. Ugh, bug. She waved her wand while saying the incantation and pointed her wand at Daniel. There was a familiar squeaking noise, but no animal. At least, not a proper animal. Daniel looked normal, except his bottom half being that of a cat. The proportions and weight distribution was all wrong. Daniel fell over with his weak legs. What did you do to me? Daniel exclaimed. Minerva fixed him and looked at the two. 10 points from Slytherin for failing to turn Mr. Daniel into a corporeal animal, and 20 points from each of you for disrespecting students. If you haven't noticed, Mr. Potter and Mr. Malfoy are the only ones in the room who successfully transformed each other. So next time, try focusing on your spells, and you get a 0 for the day for showing no effort. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the classroom for the rest of the period. Come here after dinner so you can serve detention. I hope you like cleaning with your toothbrushes. Minerva finished. She sent them out of the classroom, and everyone went back to practicing their transfiguration. Harry and Draco laughed together quietly and finished studying with extra time in class. Class finished and everyone left to go to the common rooms until dinner. Cool thing Professor McGonagall did back there, Ron commented. They all nodded. They all sat on the couch. Draco had Harry sitting cross-legged in between his legs on one end of the sofa, but Hermione and Ron on the opposite end of the sofa. Don't listen to any of them, Harry. There is no difference between you and I, Hermione told him. She, too, noticed the weird looks Harry got when he walked around the halls. Harry scoffed. Yeah, except for the fact that I'm now more feared than ever, and I'm dangerous, Harry said. Draco kissed the back of Harry's head. It'll blow over. Look at the good side. The Daily Prophet hasn't written about you. That's a good sign, Draco pointed out. It's just a matter of time because they release an article. Harry sighed. They talked a bit, then headed to dinner. Again, they were one of the last people to leave. On their way back, they stopped by Minerva's office to thank her, and they continued to the common room. They chatted and studied until bedtime, and they split to their dorms. Harry and Draco had a shower, got dressed in pajamas, and fell asleep together. Hey, broskies! My gosh. That takes me back like a couple years. I know I still suck at ending chapters. It's a good ending. I like how they end up where you spend 50% of your life in your bed. If you actually look at your lifespan and how much time you spend in your bed, it's more now, but it's over a little bit of 50%. So you should splurge on a bed than anything else in your life, just so you know. But by the way, I've made up my mind. I'm not make a sequel, but continue writing this story from after Hogwarts to their jobs in life and possibly kids and other things that may occur. By the way, I started reading Killing Stalking. No! Oh no! I was obsessed with Killing Stalking. That was my first, if you remember, my OG, like, original gang from all the way back 2 years ago. My tag for Instagram was like, I love Killing Stalking 248. Oh my gosh, was I obsessed with that book. And then I was very deeply disappointed when it ended. And I was just like, what is this shit? I was not happy. I was not a happy duck. Let's just say that. It's a gory, gross manga. Please help. I hate it. Yet I love it. That's what happens when you start reading Killing Stalking. You want them to end up together, but he's such a dick, you don't want him to. Yes, I used a swear word, and I'm sorry about that. I recommend it to anyone who likes colored manga with gore and homosexuality. Hi. I messed up. Thanks, Alex. Work. I don't care. I already have a Nintendo Switch. And I already have Animal Crossing. I haven't played that in 3 months. Because I was busy with school. And stuff like that. Skip now. The New Daily Prophet and a Full Moon. This chapter is after a long time skip, by the way. It's been a month since Harry was turned into a werewolf. It was the day of the full moon, and it was a Wednesday. The Daily Prophet had not written about him yet, but Harry was glad. He had no idea how people would react. He was still feared, but no one went out of their way to talk about him. Harry woke up fidgety. Come on, Draco, wake up. We need to get breakfast, Harry said. He got out of bed. Got out of bread. That's what they sleep in now, bread. I mean, that would be cushiony, but then it would get hard and stale and nasty. But no. He got out of bed and took a quick shower before dressing into his uniform. He pocketed his wolfsbane and waited for Draco in the common room. He understood how Remus would have felt every full moon. Is Remus still alive in this universe? I thought he died, but that could have been just me. He was extremely hungry, and he felt fidgety and a little paranoid. He also had a headache from all his thoughts. Draco finally finished getting dressed, and they made their way to the dining hall. The two got there a bit early and waited for everyone else to arrive. Once everyone was at the table, they dug in. Ron ate at it in his normal manner as usual, but was weird that Harry was eating just like Ron. Except he had enough manners to not talk with his mouth full. Everyone just kind of watched Harry in a little confusion. Harry looked up and swallowed his bite. What are you looking at? Harry asked suspiciously. Nothing. It's just We've never seen you this hungry. You're eating just like Ron, Hermione commented. Harry looked down at his plate, and he had eaten a lot very fast. Sorry, I'm just really hungry, Harry told them. The others understood and ate as well. Halfway through breakfast, No! Damn it! Why did it take it a month, though? Reporters out here, but pretty much we're a town of over 33,000 when students are here, and 27,000 when they're not. Maybe a little bit more than that. But anyways. Daily Prophet onto the table. Harry wiped his mouth and picked up his paper. He unrolled it to read and read. He knew it was a matter of time before they reported him. Harry and everyone read the front page labeled, Support Harry Potter. Oh, wait a minute. That's so nice. Hold on. Support Harry Potter. So they're not going to say, be afraid of Harry Potter. They're saying, be supportive. That's support him. So I'm kind of curious myself. Sadly, Harry Potter has become a werewolf. The event happened a month ago during a tournament set up by Minerva McGonagall, the headmaster of Hogwarts. It was taking place in the Forbidden Forest. As night fell, Harry Potter was attacked by a child werewolf from a neighboring village. McGonagall went to Harry's side as fast as she could, and she saved Harry from being eaten, although he was still bit. Harry Potter was rushed to the hospital wing where he was being treated for a bite mark and a slash down his face. Thankfully, he recovered and gained his vision. Sadly, he has become a werewolf. It has exactly been a month since the incident, and is a full moon today. Let's give Harry Potter our support for the horrible curse that is lycanthropy. Let it be known that Harry Potter is still the same chosen one. We grew to love when he defeated Voldemort twice. Although he has changed, he will always be the chosen boy, the boy who lived. My thoughts go out to Harry Potter and his boyfriend Draco Malfoy for being together in a situation like this, and Draco Malfoy's persistence to help Harry through this endeavor. Lizzie Range. Who's Lizzie Range? I think that's an OC, like an original character. I don't think that's in the books or the movies, is it? Everyone finished reading and had smiles on their faces. They absolutely loved the front page writer. She made sure to incorporate facts that were actually factual. Wow, said Harry. Wow, indeed, Draco agreed. Harry smiled greatly. I'm so glad that this isn't spreading around negativity. I'm so glad we got rid of Rita Skeeter. Sorry. RS. Let's go with RS. I'm going to say RS from now on. If anyone asks me why, send them this episode. We're here for you, Harry. And it looks like more people than us are here for you as well, Hermione said. She pointed out the students who were touched by the article. They smiled as they read it and waved to Harry. Harry felt a little unnerved by the sudden change in their actions, but it was something. Harry rushed the rest of his breakfast, and he and the others continued to their class for the day. Harry had a really bad time focusing in class. His headache would make it hard to concentrate. It was as if everything was just too much, either too dark or too light. Noises were too loud or too quiet. When class finally ended, Harry and Draco headed outside for some fresh air. Are you all right, Harry? You've been out of it the entire day, Draco asked him. Concerned, Harry sat down on the grass and rubbed his head. I have just had this killer headache the entire day, and it's hard for me to focus. Harry told him Draco sat down next to Harry and rubbed his back. It could be how you're sitting, by the way. If you have like a pain on the sides of your head, it goes all the way down around your ear, under your earlobes to the back of your neck. So right here, if you feel stress in the neck because you have been slouching or looking over your phone or laptop or whatever you're slouching over, just put pressure there for a second, and it will relieve the pressure, and then your headache will go away a little bit. But take some pain medication just in case. Oh, there's some words of wisdom for you. I'm sorry. Do you want to see if we can go get some dinner earlier? Draco asked him. Harry shook his head. No thanks, I'm not feeling very hungry, Harry excused. The two sat down a little and watched the sun. When the sun started to get close to setting, Harry and Draco met up with Hermione, Ron, and at Hagrid's hut. They headed to the Whomping Willow. Harry downed the wolfsbane and said his good nights to everyone. Make sure to leave as soon as I'm inside the willow. I don't want there to be an accident or anything, Harry told them. Harry took his robe and tie and sweater off and handed them to Draco. He gave Hermione his wand. I don't want to accidentally break it or anything, Harry told her. The Whomping was waving its branches around crazily, trying to hit Harry, even though he was out of reach. Ugh. The Whomping Willow reminds me of what happened to Draco in the other story, and I'm just... I love you, Harry told Draco. He gave him a quick kiss, and he sprinted to the entrance. He zigzagged back and... He zigzagged back and forth to confuse the tree. Soon he slid down the entrance. When Harry got to the Shrieking Shack, he took all his clothes off. Ooh, except his boxers. Oh. Off and put them inside a wardrobe and waited for himself to turn. He placed his glasses on the bed. He watched outside the window and finally started to feel a searing pain spread through his body. His vision became filled with red, and he felt his muscles and bones change. He finally transformed and looked around. Because of the wolfsbane, he had his mind and memories, but he still felt weird in his new body. He tried to talk, but all he heard was a couple of howls. He felt very tired, so his body felt heavy. He yawned loudly and fell asleep on the bed. In the common room, everyone looked outside towards the direction of the Shrieking Shack. They heard a loud howl, then silence. I guess that's him, Ron said when he heard the howl. They all went to their dorms and fell asleep. The next morning came, and everyone got ready early. They headed to the Whomping Willow and waited for Harry. Once the sun raised and the moon vanished, they heard the loud echoed scream. It sounded like Harry. I'll go and get him, Draco said. He bolted towards the entrance and evaded the branches. Once inside, Draco looked around and found the Shrieking Shack. Draco looked around the room until he found Harry lying face up on the bed. His boxers were stretched out and a little ripped, but Draco didn't mind. Harry just laid there. His chest was rising and falling quickly from the exertion of his body. Draco shook Harry. Harry, wake up, it's me. Draco, you need to get dressed. Draco nudged him. He put his glasses on and looked around. Okay, was all Harry said. He was obviously exhausted. Draco looked through the room, found his clothes, and he helped Harry into his clothes. He carried Harry on his back. When they got to the exit, they scrambled out. The tree didn't wave its branches at them since they were leaving. Hermione and Ron went to Harry and Draco. They all walked back to the castle. Harry fell asleep on Draco's back. His hair was a mess, and it had some dust and dirt in it from sleeping on the old bed. They entered the school and walked as fast as they could to the common room. A couple of people were awake, and they saw Harry asleep on Draco's back. Minerva saw them pass the dining hall. They all got to the common room. Everyone saw the group go into Harry and Draco's dorm and close the door. They laid Harry on the bed and tried to wake him up. Draco dug through his bag of potions and pulled out one to wake him up. He poured it into Harry's mouth, and soon he woke up coughing. He looked around the room. "How did I get back?" Harry asked. "I carried you here," Draco told him. Harry slowly nodded and stood up. "I'm going to take a shower," Harry said. He went to the bathroom and he got cleaned. We'll wait for you in the dining hall," Hermione told Draco. Ron and Hermione left their room and headed to the dining hall. Once Harry finished, the two headed down to the dining hall. Harry was still groggy and a bit sore, but he was awake enough to walk around and talk. The two sat down and everyone started to eat. "Did you take the leaves out yet?" Harry asked the group quietly. They nodded their heads. "Tonight we'll start it. In a week we should be ready. Then we can go and register ourselves on a Hogsmeade's Day," Draco told him, and Harry nodded to them. Everyone went to their classes together and helped Harry stay awake. In potions, he had fallen asleep while cutting some leaves and caused a cut on his finger. In DADA, he got hit with a Confucius spell and fell over. In herbology, he pricked himself with a cactus. "Oh, you fool!" Ugh. It's not just one spike. It's tiny other spikes. Oh, that's going to be painful getting out. Oh, they look so fluffy, but they have like tiny spikes. Like roses. What was it? Yeah. Care of magical creatures. He was bitten by a walking rock. And in transfiguration, he misaimed and turned his table into a dog. Oh, wow. It ran away from him, and he had to chase it all around the school. When he came back, people laughed at him, since he was carrying the standard-sized poodle. Oh, no! Which kept on licking his face and glasses. Professor Agnes changed the dog back and deducted 5 points for not focusing. Harry and the others went to dinner early and ate fast. They hurried back to the common room so there would be no one around. "All right, I got the potion ready. We just need to add the leaves," Draco said. They gave everyone a vial of potion. They took their leaf and placed it in the potion. It quickly dissolved. Everyone downed their potion. They gagged at the taste of it. "All right, let's say the incantation," Draco told everyone. He went first. "Amato, amano, amanto, animagus," he said. Everyone else said the incantation. "As long as we do this once a day after dinner for a week, we should be able to safely transform," Hermione said. They all took their homework out and finished it. Harry and Draco headed to bed early, and they fell asleep as easy as could be. "Yo! I'm going to go to Orlando this summer for an anime convention." Orlando has an anime convention? My dad would never let me go if I'm on vacation to Orlando, because that's also where Disney World is, or in the same city, Orlando. But I'm so excited. I'm going as to be Yoonbum. You fool! I hope you do not find your, oh shit, I forgot his name now. Yoonbum and, who's the abusive bastard? Sang-woo. Sang-woo. Asshole. He got what he deserved in the end, but not before he started dating Yoonbum. And then it just turned sour from there. So, there's a spoiler to you, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to want to watch it anyway. Read it anyway. I might also do Sang-woo on another day. I'm so happy. Alex. Well, good for you, Alex, but take this with a grain of salt. It's not a good series to end. It may start out as a really fucking weird series, but at the same time, you want them to be together, but it never happens. You know. Sadly. Animagus. It's been a week since Draco, Hermione, and Ron started to become an Animagus. Tonight was the night they tested out their transformation. Wait. Oh yeah, I'm plenty of time. Everyone stayed in Harry and Draco's dorm, since they had the most room. With one of the beds removed, there was plenty of room for everyone. All right, so how do we do this? Ron asked. Everyone was sitting down in a circle. Supposedly, if we focus very hard on turning into an animal, we will turn. We were supposed to see a behavior change this past week. It's supposed to resemble a certain animal, Hermione said. She opened the book and tried to make sense of it. It was vague. Well, I felt a bit more protective, I guess, Draco said. Harry agreed. You have been very clingy, but I like it. Harry said, I felt a bit attracted to Quidditch. More so the act of flying, Hermione said. I don't feel any different. I've been hanging out with you a lot more. That's anything, Ron said. Well, I think we should try and turn into something, Draco said. Harry watched as everyone closed their eyes and concentrated. They sat there for a couple of moments, and then Harry saw something. Hermione was almost shrinking into herself. Draco was sprouting fur. Oh, I wanted him into a snaky poo. I wanted him to turn into a snake or a dragon. Snake, because he can curl up on Harry and just the tongue. You know what I mean? Draco was sprouting fur everywhere, and so was Ron. Harry watched as they each turned into animals. Draco opened his eyes and looked at where Hermione and Ron sat. Instead, he saw an owl and a dog. Draco looked down and he saw white paws. Was he? Hermione opened her eyes as well and saw a white cat. Okay, so anyways, if it's a cat, then you're fine. Then I'm fine with it. Oh, he must look so beautiful. White cat. I have a black cat. Emmy! Where did my cat go? Emerald! Kitty, kitty, kitty! Come here! I don't know where my cat is. I lost her. I'll find her sometime. And a copper-colored dog tower over her. She lifted a leg and saw talons. Ron opened his eyes and saw a white cat and a brown barn owl. Oh, barn owls are my favorite type of owl. They're really small. They're so beautiful, though. They have the really big eyes that everyone likes, like in anime. They have really big eyes, and they're so adorable. I love barn owls. I think my favorite one was Birch Barn because they're really small. And I saw one at the Eagle Shelter. Why were they at an Eagle Shelter? No, it was at an animal shelter for all kinds, and they had a cave there. It's somewhere in Minnesota or Wisconsin. Can't remember what it was. But they have like a lot of birds there and such. And the owl was so beautiful. I absolutely loved it. Sorry, I had to tell you that. Anyways, going on. He stood up and saw Copper Fur Paws. Harry watched in amusement. Where his friends originally sat were three pets: a white cat, a brown owl, and a copper dog. So I'm guessing, a barn owl, a white cat, and a golden retriever. Which I'm kind of getting at, but maybe not. Because golden retrievers are very loyal, so he's been with his friends a lot, so I'm guessing that's how it is. Harry busted out in laughter. He rolled around on the floor. "You look so cute!" Harry laughed. Draco and Ron walked over to a body mirror and looked at themselves. Hermione kind of just hopped to the mirror. She didn't know how to fly. "Holy shit, I'm a cat," exclaimed Draco. Ron and Hermione understood him, but Harry just heard a meow. "We can understand each other. That's amazing," Ron exclaimed happily. Harry only heard a bark. He tried to hush him. "Ron, be quiet. You don't want anyone to hear you. People will ask why there is a dog in my room," Hermione scolded him. She read in the book that they couldn't speak to humans. Harry sat down next to them and got their attention. "Draco, Hermione, Ron, be quiet. People are going to hear you screeching and barking." You can't hear them, so it's funny. Harry told them. Draco looked at Harry and nodded his head. He walked around a bit. He was able to gracefully jump onto the bed. Ron, of course, being as excitable as he can be, started to wag his tail as he scrambled onto the bed. He nearly knocked Draco off the bed. Hermione kind of just stood there, flapping her wings cautiously. "Can you fly?" Harry asked her. She shook her head. She flapped her wings, but she only hovered into the air for a moment. Harry moved over to the side. "Try taking a running start," he told her. Hermione backed up and spread her wings. She started to run, and then she jumped and flapped her wings. She was airborne. She flew around Harry's room and perched herself on the headboard. "Let's try to change back," Draco told them. Everyone thought of their image, and Harry watched his friends turn back to normal. Draco and Ron were sitting on the bed, and Hermione was sitting on the headboard. They all got down and laughed. "That was amazing! I can't believe we did it!" Ron exclaimed happily. Harry laughed. "We're lucky we didn't get stuck mid-transformation," Hermione commented. Draco agreed. I feel so sassy when I walk," Draco added, smiling. "Is it really that fun?" Harry asked. They nodded their heads. "You're lucky. I can't control it." It would be fun to be in Omegas with you," Harry said. "I'm sorry, there's just no way for you to keep the leaf in your mouth for an entire month. You'll always miss that one day," Ron said. Hermione looked through Draco's bookshelf and grabbed a book. She sat on their bed and looked through it. She got to the lycanthropy. page and found that what she needed. "We might be wrong," she said. "If we lock him in a room with no windows or light, well, shit. Then we can delay the transformation for a couple of hours. As long as we take the leaf out after midnight, he'll be all right to transform the next week." Hermione added excitedly. She looked over to Harry. "What do you think? When the month is over, you can try it out. We can lock you up in the bathroom. There's no windows or light. We will be safe in our Omegas form, and when you fall asleep, we can remove the leaf from your mouth and bottle it." Hermione planned out. Harry was hopeful. "I'll do it, but are you sure you'll be safe?" Harry asked. Hermione nodded. "Positive." Harry laughed. "Then I'll do it. We can start at the end of the month." He decided. Draco hugged him. "Great," he exclaimed. They said their good nights. Everyone went to their own dorms. Harry and Draco got dressed in pajamas and crawled into bed. Draco spooned Harry. "Good night, love," Draco said. "Good night, I love you," Harry said. Yo, I love this. It's gonna be cute. It's gonna be cute. I thought he was gonna say gone from Hunter x Hunter. Be cute. They'll flock to the meadow in a meadow and some shit. I just love that and some shit from Alex. One thing I hope they did is a time skip to the next month, because then they could be able to. It's probably going to be Christmas because it's been a couple of months. Wait, no, it's already been Christmas, you dummy. It's probably going to be almost graduation, so I think they would have to do it then. We need to tell Mom and the ministry. Oh shit, what happened now? The next day was a better day. Damn it, they didn't do a skip. Harry's headache was gone and he felt better. Oh my gosh. In general. It was a Saturday and everyone was discussing what to do for the day at the breakfast table. "Harry, we need to tell Mom about this. She doesn't know about you," Ron brought up. Harry cursed under his breath. He nearly forgot he needed to tell them. "It is possible to meet up with Molly and Arthur?" Harry asked. "Oh, is it possible to meet up with Molly and Arthur?" Harry asked. Ron shrugged his shoulders. "We could always ask Professor McGonagall if we can use her flu to go to the Burrow." "Do you want to do that?" Ron asked. "Yeah, and if Minerva won't let us, then I can just send Molly the newspaper clipping with an explanation," Harry said. Everyone finished their breakfast and headed to Minerva's office. When they got to the familiar staircase, it opened for them. They ascended the stairs and walked into her office. Instead, the office hasn't changed much. Some things were positioned in different places, but other than that, everything was the same. Severus Snape's talking portrait hung in the office. Yeah! Sorry, I love Severus Snape so much. I'm a simp for Severus Snape. That came out, you know what? I don't care anymore. I have a problem with men in their 30s and they look hot, if you haven't noticed. I mean, have you seen Asami from Viewfinder? Or You're My Love Prize in a Viewfinder? Oh, my mom wants to marry him, but he's gay. Oh, he gay. But he hot, though, so that's the problem.
"Well, look here. Potter, Weasley, Granger, and Draco. What is Potter giving you a problem?" Snape taunted sarcastically.
"Nice to see you as well, Severus." Harry greeted a
bit sarcastically. Snape raised an eyebrow. "Hello, Godfather!" Draco greeted. Minerva came out from behind another door in the back and sat at her desk. "Hello, Potter. What is it that I can do for you?" she asked. Harry was a little nervous. "Well, I haven't had the chance to tell Mr. and Mrs. Weasley about what happened to me. And I wanted to tell them in person instead of through a letter. Would you mind if I used your flue to go to the burrow so I can tell them?" Harry asked. Minerva looked at the group and smiled. "Of course, but only this once. And don't tell anyone I let you leave through my flue. If any of you run off the campus to tell them, you got a detention for it," Minerva told them. Oh! I almost dropped my phone. I like that when Severus is in the story, it's a long-ass chapter. She stood up and got her bag of flue powder. And since the flue was really wide, everyone was able to stand in it at once. Ron took the flue powder. "The burrow," Ron said. He dropped the powder and the group was whisked away. Everyone landed and they all brushed the soot off. George heard some commotion and poked his head out around the staircase. "Harry, Ron, why are you here? And what happened to your face?" George asked suspiciously. "Wait, where's Percy? Didn't Sir Percy... Oh, wait, he's probably married and has kids by now." I don't know. He got married in, first part, right? Of the 2 parts Deathly Hallows, didn't he? That was Percy, right? I don't know. He held his wand at his side just in case. "I have something to tell you. Minerva let us use her flue to get here," Harry explained. George eyed them, but called for Molly and Arthur anyways. "Mom, Dad, Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Draco are here. Harry's got something important to tell us," Draco exclaimed. They heard a couple footsteps, and Molly and Arthur came down the staircase. "Ron, Harry, why are you here?" she asked. She gasped. "Dear Merlin, what happened to your face? Who did this to you?" she exclaimed. She grabbed Harry's face and she rubbed her thumbs over the scar. "We came here because there was something important that we needed to tell you. We'll explain the scar as well," Hermione said. Hermione had a serious facial expression on. "Well, let's sit down," Arthur gestured. They all sat down in the living room. George sat down in the kitchen chair that he brought into the living room. "Quick question. What did you do in first year?" George asked. Oh, he thinks it's not him. Okay. I was just like, why is he suspicious? Well, the scar on his face is kind of something that happened to another, I think it was a Death Eater had a scar on his face. Well. He raised his brow. "I fought Quirrell, who was possessed by Voldemort, and I retrieved the Philosopher's Stone. Why do you ask? You already know," Harry asked, puzzled. "Just checking. Anyways, explain what happened," George continued. Harry looked down and twiddled his thumbs. "Well, you remember us writing you about the duel? I made it through the first one perfectly fine. It was actually really fun," Harry said. And the second one, though, was a lot different. It was held in the Forbidden Forest." Molly, Arthur, and George listened. Everything was going great. We had a plan, and it was taking longer than we expected. So it ended up turning nighttime. It also happened to be the full moon at that night. Harry added, Molly and... Darn it all. My alarm went off. I'm sorry.
Harry added. Molly and Arthur's eyes widened, but they didn't interrupt. I was heading over to my position when I heard some rustling in the bushes. I thought it was our opponent, but then I started running around me so fast. It couldn't have been them, so I started to run. I called everyone through my wand and talked to them. I reached a clearing and looked back. It was a child werewolf, about 5 feet tall. He was chasing me. George was stunned. I told them about the werewolf, but I decided to keep it distracted so it wouldn't go after anyone else. So I fought it, and it jumped me and scratched my face and eye. Harry said, pointing to a scar. That's how I got this. He laughed awkwardly. He paused and then continued. Then I tried hitting it with some spells, and it to take it down without hurting it. I mean, it was a child. He probably couldn't control his actions. He couldn't possibly try to kill it. I couldn't possibly try to kill it. Minerva heard the fight, and she started to fly to get to me. Just before she did, well, I'll show you. Harry pulled his shirt off over his head and revealed a scarred bite mark on his shoulder. The others gasped. It bit me with the intention of actually eating me. Thankfully, Minerva got there in time to scare it off. But I was still bit. It took a couple of days of my vision to come back in my eye. And it all took a day for my bite and scratch to heal. I am permanently a werewolf, Harry concluded. He pulled his shirt back on and sat down. Draco grabbed his hand for support. Harry was happy with the gesture. Draco pulled out the newspaper clipping. It happened a little over a month ago. He already went through his first moon, but he had to do so alone. He handed Arthur the article. He read through it and had a grim expression. He handed Molly the article and then to George. Molly was on the verge of tears. She stood up and went to embrace Harry. Harry stood up and hugged her back. "Why did you wait so long to tell us?" she sniffed. "I didn't want to tell you through a letter, and I was ashamed at the moment. People were scared of me, and I just needed to take a little time to come to terms with it myself," Harry told her. She let go. "What are your thoughts on the issue?" Hermione asked them. George handed Molly a tissue. "It's horrible that you had to go through this, Harry. But I love you all the same. It'll just add a little more excitement every month," George joked. Harry was grateful that George had felt no differently. "Well, we can definitely find ways to deal with this. Every month, you could go to the Black Manor for the night, if you like, or you could just stay in the shed. Wolfsbane doesn't work exactly the same every time, so precautions have to be taken. But I don't see you differently. You're still our Harry," Arthur assured him. Molly stood there and dried her tears. Everyone waited for Molly's answer, and she hugged Harry again. "Of course I still love you. And to think you nearly died again." She took a pause to stabilize her voice. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you my thoughts of Draco earlier. I just didn't know how to feel, because I waited so long you could have died without knowing the answer. I'm so sorry." Molly let go of Harry and went to Draco. She stood up to face him. She gave him a big hug, which he returned happily. You have my official blessing. You take care of Harry, you hear? You're good for him. She let go of him. And I want to see you both of you wearing matching rings on your right hand in the near future. Right hand. It's left hand, isn't it? Wait. Yeah, I had to do the L check. Yes, it's left hand. Last time I checked, it's left hand, but if she means like engagement rings, yes, I understand. Because then you would wear the engagement ring on your left hand, on your right hand, and the wedding ring on the left hand. Yeah. Like that makes sense. She teased them while pointing at their bare right hand. This made them blush and everyone else laugh. Is there in I didn't know in England it was not the left hand. Is it not the left hand? I need to look this up. This is interesting to me. This made the two blush and everyone else laugh. We have another thing to tell you as well, Ron said. He gave Hermione and Draco a look, and they understood. We have become animaguses. Amagus. Hermione told them excitedly. She transformed and flew into the mantle. Draco transformed and Harry picked him up. Ron transformed and pounced on George happily. Molly and Arthur watched, exasperated. George just laughed with them. He transformed surprisingly into a hyena. The others gasped. George ran around with Ron. And, I would love to be a hyena. Because every time, I don't know if it's actually them laughing. I think it's just them breathing a certain way that it makes them that laughing noise. Or is it actually them laughing? Because I would be a hyena because they look dope. You know, the jokes will be hitting when they do the hyena laugh. You know what I mean? And I wish I would be friends with Whoopi Goldberg's hyena. You know what I mean? Whoopi Goldberg. Man, icon. I'm an idiot, but whatever. Where was I? The others gasped. George ran around with Ron and made various animal noises to each other. George Weasley, when did you become an Amagus? Arthur asked. He was worried. He didn't know if George was registered or not. George changed back. Don't worry, I registered myself long ago. George assured him. Did you three register yourselves? George asked them. They all transformed back. We are going to wait for Harry to start training. We have to wait until the next full moon for him to start it. And then the next moon after, we get the leaf and make the potion. Ron told them. We have to register yourselves immediately. The ministry is becoming very intolerant of people become animagus without supervised training. Arthur scolded them. The group stopped laughing. We'll do it today, then. And Harry, can we go when he's finished? Hermione said. Molly smiled. And Harry can go when he's finished. Okay. I thought that was a question somehow. Good. Now, off you go. Molly shooed them into the flue. When you're done registering yourselves, come back and we can have some lunch and catch up, she said. Everyone stood into the flue and flew to the ministry. When they got there, it was packed with people. Saturdays were always busy. The group stayed together and walked into the Department of Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures. They talked to the secretary of the department. Excuse me, where would you go to register as an Amagus? Hermione asked the woman. She lazily pointed to a sign that said Spirit Division. Hermione thanked her, and they all went down the correct hall. When they got there, they saw multiple desks set up in the room. They headed to an empty one and talked to the man. "What can I help you with today?" he asked happily. He was a young man, about 25, with short brown hair. "We're here to register 3 people as Magus," she told him. He opened the little door next to his desk and gestured for them to come in. "Right this way," he said. They went into the room and sat in the chairs leaned up along the wall. "If the first person could please stand right here so I can take a picture," he asked, pointing to an X on the floor. He had a camera ready for the picture. Hermione went first and got her picture taken. "Please change into your Magus so I can take a picture," he asked. Hermione changed into an owl and she stood on the X. The man took another picture and Hermione changed back. He wrote down on the parchment paper, "Please state your name, your blood, and how old you are, and what breed of owl you are," he asked. "Hermione Granger, Muggle-born, 17, and brown barn owl," she told him. He finished writing. "Okay, great. Now the next person?" he asked. Ron went second, and then Draco went after him. "You're Harry Potter, am I correct?" he asked. "It's wonderful to meet you. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're going to have to go to the Beast Division to register yourself." "You were supposed to register yourself as a werewolf a while ago," he told him. Harry didn't know the Ministry were cataloging werewolves, which is a good thing they do because then they can keep track of where the werewolf is and make sure they don't harm anyone, which I think is a really smart thing to do. In my opinion, sorry. Okay then. Where is the Beast Division?" he asked. The man opened the door and pointed down the hall they came from. "Go back where you went and take a left instead. They'll see you. You'll see it. There'll be a whole bunch of creatures in the area," he told them. They said goodbye to the man and went off to the Beast Division. "Why didn't anyone tell me? And since when do they catalog werewolves?" Harry asked, confused. Draco just held Harry's hand. "I don't know. Maybe it's so they know how much wolfsbane to make. I just remembered they're handing it out for free now." "Shit, really?" In the other story, wolfsbane's becoming really scarce, so this would be a really good tactic for the other book I'm reading for Snarry. So maybe this should cross. You know what I mean? Hold on. Harry got to the Beast Division and got in line. Draco, Ron, and Hermione waited for Harry instead of staying in line. They saw normal people, probably werewolves, then villas and vampires, and even a couple of strays. Sounds a little bit Australian. Harry tapped the person's shoulder that was in front of him. "Excuse me, ma'am. Do you know why they're cataloging werewolves?" Harry asked her. She turned around and shook her head. "I don't know. I just got a letter in the mail saying that all werewolves were to register themselves, but it never explained why," she answered. "So you're a werewolf as well?" Harry asked her, curious. She nodded her head. "Yeah, I was born one. My parents, the parents of 2 werewolves have a 50% chance of having a werewolf child. I got the unlucky half." She laughed. "You're Harry Potter, I presume. I read about what happened in the paper," she said. "Yeah," Harry said awkwardly. She giggled. "Is it true you and Draco Malfoy are dating?" she asked. Draco nodded his head. "Yeah, we are," he told her. She just nodded her head. "Interesting. Well, to think Harry Potter ended up dating a Slytherin. I don't think many people could have guessed that." "I could have." No, I'm kidding. I've always suspected there was something. But you know what? My little kid brain, no one believed me. I don't think many people would have guessed that, she joked. The two talked until it was her turn to be registered. She went into the room, came out 5 minutes later. Next, the older man said in a gruff voice, Harry Potter finally decided to show up. Come back here with me, the man said quite rudely. Harry followed him into the back room. The man instructed him to sit in the chair and in front of the camera. State your name and blood type, then tell me where all your scars are and how you got them. Then tell me how many moons you've experienced. The man asked. He had a quill and parchment ready. My name's Harry Potter. I am a half-blood. I have a scar on the right side of my face that goes down my face, and a bite scar on my right shoulder, both of which are from the same werewolf. I have a faded lightning bolt scar on the right side of my forehead, and I got that when I was hit with a killing curse. I have a scar on my right forearm from being cut, and I have a small scar on my knee and shins from dual fightings. I have experienced 1 moon, he finished, and the man wrote everything down quickly and shot a photo of Harry. Pull your hair back and expose your arm scar for the camera, the man ordered. Harry rolled up his sleeves and tied his hair back. The man shot another picture of him. Now sign here. The man handed him a quill. He signed the bottom of the scroll. He felt the familiar stinging pain. It was a blood quill. Fuck's sake! Ugh! Why? We had a problem with this in the other story. As you can tell, I'm so sick of it. What's the big idea? Harry asked. He rubbed his hand. Just formalities, he said. He made Harry stand up and took his measurements. When he finished, he pushed Harry out of the room, literally. Geez, watch it, will you? Harry told him. He rolled his sleeves down and joined the group. How was it? Draco asked. Rude bloke he was. Harry said. Everyone left and headed to the flues. Everyone flew back home to the burrow. When they got back home, Molly had lunch ready. She had made everyone sandwiches and... I can't think of a sandwich right now. I just rewatched Nanny McPhee 1. Oh, man. It reminded me of the story of how to eat worms. Live worms. Ugh. They didn't like the lady, so they put worms in her sandwich. So, sandwiches right now aren't helpful. And lemonade. How was it? Arthur asked. He was reading a book on the couch. Okay, apparently they're cataloging werewolves all of a sudden. Harry had to go and register himself in the Beast Division, Ron told Arthur. Really? I thought that it was just a rumor, Arthur said. He put his book away and everyone headed to the kitchen. George was helping Molly set everything up. Were they rude to any of you? We've been getting complaints about the rude service, Arthur said. They all sat down and started to eat. The man at the Spirit Division was very nice, but the older man who worked at the Beast Division quite literally pushed Harry out of the room, Hermione told them. That's horrible! No one should be discriminated against any magical creature, Molly said. Do you want to play outside? It's been a while since I had fun as a hyena, George suggested. Ron smiled happily. That sounds great, he said. Ron had noticed that George was finally getting out of his depression. He's been in for a while. He hasn't pranked anyone yet, but he's smiling more and spent more time with the family. When everyone finished eating, they went outside to play around. Harry sat down and watched them play around. Molly and Arthur watched through the window from inside. "We should have a race," Ron said. They all went to one side of the yard opposite of Harry. "First one to reach Harry has to tackle him." No! Hyenas are huge! It's gonna be a pig pile, and that's gonna be heavy. Ready, set, go! Hermione said. She flew as fast as she could. The others ran as fast as they could. Draco, having short legs, was last. Hermione was third, Ron was second, and George was first. He pounced onto Harry and knocked him onto his back. They all played around a little, and they had fun. Draco stopped everything and looked around. He heard something. The others watched, amused, that when Draco crouched down and started to slink close to the tall grass fields. All of a sudden, he pounced into the grass and came back with something in his mouth. It was still moving. "Let go of me!" Harry heard. He looked closer and saw that Draco had a snake in his mouth. Draco brought Harry the snake and laid it in front of him. "Do you seriously bring me a snake?" Harry laughed. He picked the snake up. "Don't worry, I won't hurt you," Harry told the snake in Parseltongue. The snake stopped moving around. "You can speak?" he asked. Harry nodded. "Of course. How else could you understand me?" Harry joked. "What's your name?" Harry asked. "We don't really have names," the snake told Harry. Ron just getting close to the snake and sniffing it. "Don't sniff me, you mutt!" he yelled back at Ron. Ron barked back at him and was ready to jump on him. "Don't call him a mutt. He's my best friend and best mate you're talking to," Harry told the snake. Draco hissed at the snake. Harry stood up and threw the snake back into the field. "Don't come back," Harry said. He went back to the group. "I didn't know snakes could be so rude," Harry said. George just laughed with sounded like a screaming noise to Harry. They transformed back and went inside. Everyone talked for a bit and caught up with each other. Apparently, George started job hunting. Arthur got another promotion, and Molly started to sell some of her knitted items for a little extra money. Draco and Harry talked about class, and Hermione and Ron talked about some of the fun things they all did together, which was sit by the fire, just having a normal life. No fireworks, just reading a book and being able to point out things and knowing my favorite tea. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong story. I thought it was going in that direction. Oh, man. Draco and Harry talked about class. Hermione and Ron talked about some of the fun things they all did together. It was getting close to curfew, so the group said their goodbyes and flew back to the Minerva's office. The group walked out of the fireplace, covered in soot. They cleaned themselves off, and "There you are! I was wondering what happened. What took you so long?" She asked, reading through her documents. "Well, we told them when we went to the ministry to register ourselves. We told them, then we went to the ministry to register ourselves, and we stayed for lunch and caught up," Harry summed up, and they walked towards the exit. "Register yourselves? For what?" Minerva asked. Hermione smiled. "We're a Magus." And Harry had to get himself catalogued, Hermione told her. Minerva took her reading glasses off and looked at them astonished. "You became an Magus? When?" she asked. Draco put his finger to his mouth. "It's a secret," he laughed. "Thank you for letting us use your flue." Draco thanked. The group said goodbye and they went to dinner. I
I don't understand why Snape hasn't said anything. Like, why are you hanging out with these guys? Didn't you have a problem with them? What's going on? You know what? Why isn't his portrait anywhere else but the headmaster's office? He did not like hanging out in the headmaster's office at all. So, why isn't he in other portraits in the castle? Is my question. And is it his actual spirit? Is my question. Is that what they have confirmed? That it's actual spirits from the dead just talking to everyone? Because that would suck if you had it in front of a painting. He's like, I died and I was put in this room for this? I mean, he ain't even good. Oh, please don't. That would just be sad for everyone in the painting. Or just whoever's in the painting. They all headed to the common room and socialized a bit with everyone. Draco and Ron transformed into their animagus forms, which definitely turned a couple heads. They stretched out in front of the fire. Hermione and Harry laughed at the two lads on their as the two laid on their backs and soaked up the heat. When bedtime came, they all parted and went to their dorms. Draco transformed back and got dressed into pajamas. Harry and Draco crawled into bed and they snuggled around each other and fell asleep. Yo, I think this is adorable. From Alex. Oh my word. Ugh. Good grief. Ugh. I don't get it nowadays. What is it with a lot of things happening with the world? I don't care. Please get off my screen. At this point, shut up. Yeah. You be quiet. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. I think we read 4 chapters. Thank you guys for watching. I hoped you liked it very much, and I enjoyed it. I will tell you that. I enjoyed it very much so. But, here, listen to here. When someone is considered dangerous or is misjudged, please don't always listen to rumors unless you confirm it with the person. And don't avoid people and bully them. That's all I ask you to not do. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay happy, stay healthy, and always be loving. Bye-bye.